Oh, hello there. What's going on? Dr. Becky, you have some news?
One of the best feelings as a scientist is when new observations or new data show the complete opposite of what's been predicted by the best models we have for what is going on.
Oh, that sounds very intriguing. You all know what that means. We conjecture ahead.
This is going to be weird, and it's going to be about a different.
Title of the conference was something like Ground Truth or Turtles All the Way Down. And so it seems as though there's one Ruliad. I don't think it rules them all. And it might be just hyper-rulial turtles all the way down.
Yes, it's on the back of an infinite number of hyperrulial turtles.
Various people are commenting on the outrage of hacking the universe on a MacBook Air.
Welcome everyone now, and temporally in the future. Memes here. I apologize. I was away yesterday. I was wrestling with the Riemann zeta function for about 2 hours. I'm still wrestling with it. It's winning. I think that's why it's a difficult problem. I don't just want to ask Thad the answer for everything. I need to learn to do this myself. But, what we got going on here? This was brought to us by Dr. Becky of the Dr. Becky YouTube channel here. And this is a fascinating thing. Basically, to sum it up real quick, you had two neutron stars, and they're going in, and they're going really fast and everything, and it was theorized that, well, when they come together and they go boom, basically the resulting wave, light, whatever is being spewed, it's supposed to look like a donut. So I have the donut on the thumbnail. Donuts. But I like donuts. I digress. But essentially it looked more like a sphere. And that seemed to be surprising to a lot of astronomers. They were not expecting that. Or at least some folks are. Well, let's get into a little bit more. Not a huge amount of math here or anything.
For a kilonova. A kilonova is the burst of light that occurs when two neutron stars merge together. Neutron stars are like the baby siblings of black holes. They're formed from the cores of massive stars when they run out of fuel and go.
Oh, look at that. That's pretty. But essentially, you get a neutron star when you get a big star. Basically, it expends so much energy and fuel and everything. Essentially, gravity starts to take over, and it crunches down. And if there's enough mass and pressure, you may get a black hole. If there's not quite enough, you get a neutron star. That's why they're so interesting, because people are like, whoa, once you get to a neutron star, it's like a big giant neutron. I'm like, really? Makes me think of Kale. Neutron decay cosmology. But, welcome, Whitechapel. Now, Fizz, I'm not sure, she may be back next week. We may or may not have an additional guest. We'll see what happens. But, yes, and who doesn't like donuts? She's still on the farm, as far as I know. But essentially, you've got this big, dense thing where all of a sudden, like, the protons and electrons, we overcome the electrostatic force, and they go zoop, and they become neutrons. And so some fascinating characteristics that certain folks have conjectured. I don't think we know. I've never been to the center of a neutron star. I don't think I would really be able to give many valid observations. Unless we get, I don't know, maybe some vibranium or something. I don't know. But as far as what's going on, let's continue a little bit.
Supernova, and they leave behind this super dense core, where the matter has been crushed under gravity so much that all the space from every atom has completely disappeared. Electrons and protons have been forced to merge together to make neutrons. And you've been left with a star that is essentially this perfect neutron.
Okay, here's the thing. When a neutron decays, we get an electron, we get usually like a photon, we get an antineutrino. I'm not sure if the photon's included there. It may depend on the energy. I'm just saying, where's the antineutrino come from? Does that have something to do with a twist? Again, this is just rampant conjecture on my part. It also kind of goes into what Callie was saying a little bit. I'm just saying, you never know where a good idea may come from. But look at this beautiful thingy.
Neutron crystal. There's not quite
It was like
enough
crystals.
matter there so that you get that overwhelming crush of gravity downwards so that everything collapses into a black hole, these prisons.
Okay. Prisons of light. Yes. Thank you, Dr. Becky. What the heck am I doing here? Number one, I needed some more content. Number two, I wanted to do this anyway. Number three, I still spent like another 40 minutes before this wrestling with the Riemann zeta function. Oh, I got some hope. Again, rumor has it, 2023 is the year to see. But why am I saying this? Okay, let's go to the next little animation here. Okay, I could just bring it just back up. It's like the first 2 minutes of the video.
For light, but they're still extreme objects in their own right. And if you have two massive stars that are orbiting each other as they're burning fuel happily in the main part of their life, you can then end up with two neutron stars orbiting each other once those stars have died, that'll eventually spiral in and merge with each other. During that merger, there's a huge amount of energy that's released in radioactive reactions. They end up producing the heavier elements like gold, silver, and platinum and disperse them.
So this is essentially how we got a lot of our heavier elements and stuff. So I believe she goes on and basically says that this is pretty much how we believe we got a lot of the cool elements that make up Mother Earth. I think that's pretty neat. But the big thing here is, one of the things they end up saying is, well, very often you'll have two things that are different sizes. They were saying that these basically two large neutron stars, these neutron crystals per se, were spinning around, doing this whole dance and everything, and then they came together. And they're basically saying that they were probably around the same size. That's essentially what I took away from the conjecture of why it was spherical, and not just if you're spinning around really fast. It's kind of like you're on like a merry-go-round or something, and you're like spinning around on one of those things like a POC or anything, like back when we used to have POCs, where you'd spin around and you feel like you're gonna fly off. So like, I don't know, it's basically, it's not centrifugal force. I remember this is what you were taught, or at least what I was taught growing up. It's technically something else. I remember Physics with Kenny Lee on his channel. I believe he explained this to me, but I completely forgot what it was. It's essentially like a centrifugal force, but it's not centrifugal force, to the best of my knowledge. But essentially, they're like, everything's just going to shoot out, and like a donut. Didn't. So why might this be? And this got me to thinking, the whole gravity thing, it's like, essentially, like if you drilled like a hole right through the earth, and you were to fall, at one point you'd get all this energy, but as you get closer and closer, there's less and less mass around you. So you might slow down a little bit, but you're still going really fast. And if you were technically able to go through the center of the earth, assuming you are able to do that and not get melted or just torn asunder or just fried or something like that, you would not quite go all the way, and then you would just keep on going until you get to an equilibrium point. So I'm like, wait a second, isn't the central point of mass where like a lot of this stuff happens? Yes, wow, yes, we're talking a little bit about donuts. Oh, there's some of nature's tastiest treats, at least I'll claim that. But, so, why do I say this? Alright, we're gonna bring the thingy up again, we'll go back to our window, and we go back here, we go to gray. Don't pay attention to this tab. I like to have anime music playing in the background. Helps me think. I did calculations that way at the monastery, full disclosure. So we're at Gravity and Wikipedia. Take it for what it's worth. But the thing I want to go over here is this right here. Okay, this is essentially the equation of, so for the gravitational force or whatever. I'm sure there's something a little bit different. All right, so F equals G, and that's multiplied by mass 1 and mass 2. That's over R, or the radius, squared. So, where F is the force, M1 and M2 are the masses of the objects interacting. R is the distance between the centers of the masses, and G is the gravitational constant. We got that over here. So essentially that's big G. All I know as a lifelong Godzilla fan, Big G has had a place in my heart for a while. We'll get into that as Thad releases his video. But, so what the heck am I talking about here? Alright, so you've got thing 1, you've got thing 2. They're going around. At one point, as we remember from that video, they're going around so fast, it looks like they're still rotating stuff. At one point, they're going to kiss, so to speak. And once they have that kiss, so to speak, and if we're going to make the wild assumption that they're more or less exactly the same mass, at one point, when they kiss there, isn't that the center of gravity between those two objects that are coming together? Because if they're the same radius, the radius is technically 1. Right? Right? The distance between them... Well, actually, no, it would actually be 2, I believe. Because it would be a total of 1 diameter. This is very interesting. I'm trying to do this in my head real time. Because I thought it was one thing. So it's going to be the radius between them. Yeah, no, it'd be 1. Or whatever the meters are, because you want to use a coherent set of units, yada yada, to do your calculations. But I just think that's interesting that if it happens to be the same and they're coming together like that, rather than doing the thing where it's going to be spewing all around, like you see in like a lot of the pictures that you see from either the Hubble or the James Webb space telescopes, it's like you see those things happening. It's like, oh, that's pretty neat. But if there happens to be a 1, that isn't it how we also get like spheres and stuff like Wolfram Alpha? We set something to 1. This might be why Thad was stressing why 1 there may be more to it than meets the eyes or something like that. It's kind of like Transformers. You're like, oh, this is just a semi-truck. We see those all the time. Is it a semi-truck? Or is it Optimus Prime? I don't know. Might depend on which multiverse you're in at that point. But I just found this was fascinating. And the animations are fantastic. I love that stuff. I will get some animations coming. And if you're into science and nerdy stuff and some technology, I think we've got an announcement coming up. But that we're going to have to wait for tomorrow for that. But, hey, thank you all for watching. Peace out, everybody. Be safe. Take care of yourselves. It's a wacky and wild world out there, but I got some hope. Be safe, everyone.
Have you guys checked out the Memes of Destruction's channel? He's an interesting dude. I like him.